We might be able to fight through some stuff because the young people today don't give a damn. They'll fight first. I can't
They
see
really
young people
don't.
today during slavery. It just ain't gonna work. A lot of us have been dead, all that.
If we would have talked back, we would have not made it.
You want me to do what?
Speak on it. Speak on it. Because
So I'm just saying, when you look at it from those perspectives, it's like, wow, what did you, how does this happen? Me as a Black person, I'm like, nah, especially after 9/11.
Yeah.
How does this happen in America after we've had such a major attack on America that we have a president sanction something to happen like this? Now, people want to say what they want to say, but I'm going to say it like this. After looking at every news station and having that blasted all over America for the last week or 2 weeks, that it was all over TV about what was going on and how we were as a country were going to handle that, I'm like, you want to say he didn't incite that to some point? And then he went back to his office and sat in his office while it happened.
Yeah.
He
even turned on Pence, you know that, right?
So,
they were chanting to get him and they just let it.
But in so many ways, now here we go again. I'm going to say this like this, but my Black folks, we had to fight the right to vote. And in this country alone, there are still more Blacks that don't vote because they feel like their voices won't be heard. But if you don't vote, how do you get your voice to be heard? My mom always say, if you're not going to do the work, then shut up.
Yeah. And not even
Don't
just
complain.
that, Sabel. They're trying to find ways and find loopholes to stop Black people from voting.
Yeah, with
Especially
voter laws and the
voter
IDs
laws,
and everything.
all of that.
And I get that, but we don't vote as it is. So,
it's two things happening.
It's one of those
in
things
tandem.
where people have died in the Black community in the fight for us to vote, but yet you still won't vote. I wouldn't care what you vote for the lesser evil. If I had to choose between Trump and Biden, then I guess Biden might get it. Today we have a few more options than just the two sometimes, and we can do that in different ways.
Allegedly.
But, we have the Green Party, Independent Party, and if you can get those in, you can probably get through. But with that, again, you can probably get through.
It's still a two-party system, that there's a huge establishment.
Everything's around money, so you can buy just about whatever you want, and I figure to some level that's what Trump did. He bought the White House.
Yeah.
On something, and allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes,
Make sure to say allegedly.
They look in the comment section.
Yeah.
We're going to leave that alone.
No, here's the thing. Look at what happened with the Black Panther Party. Like, gun laws in California right now, the only reason why we have such strict gun laws is because the Black Panther Party marched up on those steps. And then all of a sudden, it was like, whoa, wait a second. Now all of California can't have guns because of that one action. Yet with what happened with January 6th, you've got people that look at those folks and like, they were patriots. They were saving the country. They were this.
Okay,
it's a matter of perspective at that point.
But then you look at states like Florida and Texas where you can go purchase a gun and go in the grocery store with that bitch put to your hip.
On your hip. Yeah. With like a pink little clip to put it on. And
DeSantis ain't playing, is he?
Child, they have like those big artillery guns, machine guns or whatnot. And trust me, I've seen on social media it being landed in the wrong hands. You know what I mean? Especially low budget people. So, it is.
You're talking about a certain podcast that might be low budget.
I don't discuss low budget podcasts.
Allegedly. But when you look at it from all angles, it's like one of those things. How do you talk about crime and gun laws and stuff like that when we're, you talk about young people and guns and all these school shootings we've had, but we're not tightening up our gun laws enough. You have states that have made it possible for you to just walk in a store and pick it up same day. No, nothing. It's just a lot, Yeah.
It can be challenging. And there's a lot of nuance to it all because at the same time, our country was founded on the rights of having access to guns. It's how we were able to stand up to the other country. It's this whole,
But I'm going to
historical
say this,
nuance in there. Yeah.
if I go to England,
you can't
for
get
the
a
most
gun
part, you can't have a gun.
because they learned their lesson. Just like
So,
what
I mean,
Australia banned it. Like
I
they
look at
wanted
a lot
to
of
do
these
that.
other countries that protect their communities and take care of their communities, and then you take that and you open the book and you flip it over and you say, okay, America, what?
Yeah.
Because now in America, everybody want a gun.
It's an identity.
And that's the other part of it, I'm having a whole nother faint spell go across. I just saw this thing where this lady said, go back to your country. And she was Irish. And I was like, so your family didn't travel for Ireland to get here since you're Irish,
Yeah.
You weren't born, if this is America and you're Irish, then your origins is from Ireland. So how do you tell somebody to go back to their country? Can you go back to Ireland? And do they want you back? So when I see a lot of that go on, it's just like really confusing and hurtful and stuff like that. I said that in a sense of, I hope people get enough of that to a point where it stops. Because, we're constantly talking about this is America, land of the free and the brave, and I got the right to say what the hell I want. Then stop telling people to go somewhere else because you're constantly inviting them over here.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And we're the only country that focuses on race. And I'm sitting up here and I'm listening. Some of the critiques that we always get as Black trans people specifically is, why you always talking about race? It's because race is reality, number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the fact that just because a Black person is talking about race, that doesn't mean they're a victim. I think that people who have a victim mindset that way, that are trying to project onto other people, can have several seats. Because it's important that we do talk about race.
Yeah.
It's important that we create these spaces to figure out how can we build a coalition together. How can I protect you? How can I protect you? How can y'all protect me? I think that's what we're trying to build.
I mean, I don't, I know this whole community got issues and this got stuff going on.
Community's got issues? I've never heard of that before.
Shocking.
Stuff in this
The
community.
tea, it's hot.
But
I've never heard of
I want
this.
it to be said. I don't ever see myself as a victim. I see myself as a survivor and an overachiever.
I see myself as a bad bitch.
At that point, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. But first, But
if you want to book her, you know where to find it. Right?
When Blossom talks about race, it's one of those things where just because I bring up race, I don't bring up race in the sense of discriminatory or anything else.
Right.
If I talk about race because it's been so hard, whether I'm being a Black woman, a Black man, a Black trans woman, whatever it may be, being a Black person in America is dealing with racism.
Yeah.
On many levels, whether you want to talk about it or not. At least one of the things I talk about a lot to my friends when we bring up race is, at least in the South, they'll say it to your face.
Yes.
When you come to the West or to some of these other states, they talk about it behind your back. Be brave enough to talk about me to my face. Don't be brave enough to talk about me behind my back, because when you talk about me behind my back, that's all you're doing is talking to my back.
I want to affirm that, because you are so right. I'm somebody that's from Mississippi, and I'm used to racist white people, but coming out here and dealing with anti-Blackness from other people of color was a shock to me. I was genuinely shocked at how being in proximity to white supremacy really does play out here, especially in our community, our trans community.
Yeah.
And we have to be bold to talk about it. And I know you've been in this community for a long time and you've seen so much.
I'm going to tell you, girl.
Yes, honey, tell me.
It's getting deep.
I'm going to tell you.
You already know.
Oh, we're going there. Hold on. We got to go
Historically, we want to go back a little bit, I mean, today you have a lot of organizations talking about Black and brown and how we're this and how we're that.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, it wasn't that long ago when the Asian community didn't like the Black girls and the Latino community didn't like the Black girls, and we were all separated, even when it came down to our clubs, where we go and what we did. A lot of that was separation. I came out during a time period where going to West Hollywood when I first moved here in 93, that was very much known as white boys town. Yep. And to have been a Black person or a Black gay person in LA and Boys Town during that time period, you were considered discriminated against, because unless you was sucking dick or sucking some white boy's dick or letting some white boy suck your dick and you were Black, then you weren't considered part of that community. That's why you don't see the children from Inglewood, Compton, and Long Beach come to West Hollywood that often.
Still to this day, that
so,
that effect is there. So
that's why, you know, in so many ways, and most people won't say it, is that's why the Catch was invented. You know, the Catch gave Black folks a club to go to, and it was not that many clubs that are around where Black LGBTQ folks can hang out at. Yeah. Because when you look at what's in Hollywood and around the police and around the stores and the management and the corporacy of that, it's not made for Black folks.